Hey, what the flick? Bibbs, Meredith, and we are back with X-Files, season 11.
Yay.
Episode 1, my struggles 3.
Struggle, singular, just in case anyone's furiously typing.
No, it should be my struggles.
Okay.
Because I think you had some watching this episode, my friend.
This was, okay. This one was rough on a variety of levels. A lot of people were really upset about the ending, and we will of course have to talk about that. The entire episode was difficult for me, and partly it's because the way X-Files is structured is Monster of the Week episodes and mythology episodes. And occasionally there's some character development in the middle, but usually they're pretty divvied up. And what they did is they ended on a big mythology episode with the conspiracy and the cigarette smoking man and aliens landing and a virus exploding and is Mulder gonna kill his father and holy shit, wow. The way that the conspiracy episodes work, however, is that everything needs to seem huge and world-changing and portentous, and then by the end, they somehow need to go right back to, and we're gonna do Monster of the Week stuff even though everything is supposed to have changed. This may be the most insulting version of that they've ever done, because the last season ended with that huge cliffhanger, and now it was a dream or a foreshadowing or a flash.
It was a vision.
It was a vision. Yeah. Even so, it didn't happen. Like, and there was not like, you know, like it just sort of just like, oh, by the way, no, don't worry about that.
It's like they leave it open so Mulder can change things. Well, it didn't really happen. It's all a vision in best Jean Grey, I mean Scully's mind, and I see where they're going with it as a look. It's a precautionary tale, and we have a chance to change the future, but. Maybe we also need to stop thinking of X-Files as the way of the show we had back in the 90s, and that this is not an episodic show about monsters and, you know, a deeper level conspiracy, and it's just a new format.
Maybe, but I do think that there's a difference between maybe doing that element, that storyline in the midst of an episode, where like half the episode is a vision, and then we deal with the aftermath, or even just a two-parter where you have to wait 1 week, and making you wait a whole freaking year.
Yeah.
Just for the resolution of this, and the resolution is there's nothing to resolve. Yeah. And we'll get to it later. And we can just do a whole episode of portentous voiceover and action sequences that make no sense. The whole Spender thing just frustrated the hell out of me. I'm watching this thing and it's like, okay, oh, Spender, okay, cool, here, Spender's back, neat. The whole scene of him in the parking garage is one of the worst done action sequences I've ever seen, because he's taking out the garbage, car's gonna knock him over. Okay, I'm with you so far. Someone wants Spender to be hit by a car, that's their plan, so fast that really, I know it's a TV show, but that's attempted murder. He could probably die if you did that. But it turns out they wanted information from him anyway, so that doesn't make sense. Spender runs behind a door with a thin pane of glass, and this guy who was willing to run him over with a car is now stymied by a thin window of glass and says, we want to know where Mulder's son is. And Spender's just like, well, I'm not going to tell you. Well, it's a good thing there's a thin door here. I'm motivated enough to run you over with a car, but I'm not motivated enough to knock down a door. That's bad writing. I'm just gonna say it right now. That's hard.
It's not even just bad writing. I actually was really disappointed with the whole cinematography of it, because the agency of a car running someone over in a parking lot to that degree, that car did not get up enough force to ultimately what it did, and really he could have jumped so much out of the way. And I'm like, come on, guys, just come on.
Run to the right, like run behind the garbage can. Like there's so many. And then we have that whole car chase with Mulder chasing some guy, and I have no idea why I'm supposed to care. And it's all intercut with a cigarette smoking man giving speeches after speeches after speeches and ultimately saying almost nothing.
I know.
Like it's all of the dialogue here, or almost all of the dialogue, it just sounds like it came out of a Neil Breen movie. Like if you've ever seen Fateful Findings, that's the level of conspiracy-laden writing we're doing here, and it's delivered. Sorry, David Duchovny sounds more bored than Harrison Ford did on the Blade Runner voiceover and the theatrical cut. He does not sound interesting. I was running on adrenaline and Scully's visions. Doesn't sound like you're running on adrenaline, Mulder.
I know, because you want to compare it to another FBI agent who likes to give voiceovers while working on his case, a certain Dale Cooper.
Yeah.
You have that sort of flair, and then to have Mulder just kind of well,
Mulder's supposed to be the passionate one.
And but we established in season 10 though that he's lost his passion. But that whole thing with like not even believing Scully, not like, oh no, I'm just concerned about you. Oh, I love you so much. Like that really annoyed me, because if anything should ignite Mulder, it should be that.
That's my point. I appreciate that Mulder is kind of burnt out on a lifetime of doing this, but once Scully's life is in danger, he should be a bit more invested. He is driving, like, for all he knows, across country to kill someone for all he knows. Like, he should be a little bit more invested than that. Like, it doesn't track. This whole episode is full of vague motivations, people talking around problems, trying not to reveal anything big, and then ultimately leading up to a huge reveal, which is gross.
Yeah, really gross.
It's just gross.
It's just really, 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 really gross, because that would mean that Mulder's son is not his son, but his or half brother.
Okay, I've seen this interpreted 2 different ways. And in fact, there was an interview with Chris Carter where he implied that Cigarette Smoking Man is speaking figuratively, that he's figuratively the father of Scully's child, because I believe the word was he impregnated her with science, which sounds like a terrible Thomas Dolby song. And even so, though, the violation is, I like that one. The violation is there, and it's really, I mean, it's already pretty twisted anyway. I mean, all the things that happened to Scully, but like, to just let it sit there, I know, like this, it's so.
And to see that now, I'm sorry, Carl Gerhard Busch, as Cigarette Smoking Man is best known of now, has this weird level of protection, possibly love for Scully. I don't buy it. I don't like it. I
don't buy any of it, honestly. No. Just everything about it just seems so poorly. There's a bit where Mulder gets a phone call from Spender, or Spender leaves him a message. I'm trying to remember whether they were live or not. And Spender says, Mulder, it's Spender. We need to talk about your son, William. Oh, that son.
Yeah.
Like, that's a weird thing to just sort of interject. Like, all of the dialogue seems really fake and stilted.
Yeah. And now and of course we have Spender and Mulder, which are brothers, half brothers, related, and now we've got this William kid who we've never really met. It's getting a little convoluted, a lot convoluted, and I feel like coming back into season 11 after the mixed reception to season 10 had, that they would have had a more clear and defined idea of what they wanted to do with this, and it just feels like a holdover from last season.
Well, I mean, I think if there's one thing Star Wars: The Last Jedi has told us, is that the way that fans get invested in something isn't necessarily the way that creators do, and they're operating on a different level, and we are allowed to not like that. We're also at some level we do have to simply take what they're giving us at face value. I think that's what it is. You don't get to just change it in your head because you don't like it. You have to just sort of deal with it, love it or hate it. And right now, I got to tell you, this is bad X-Files. This is not. I mean, if you loved it, okay, I'm not trying to take it away from you. Obviously, how could I even do that? But this is just not very well written, not very well acted, not very well shot television right now. And I'm very eager for them to just pretend this didn't happen for a while and give us some Monster of the Week episodes, because that is harder to screw up. Like a mediocre Monster of the Week episode is a treat compared to how they're kind of airballing the mythology right now and just making these huge moves and disguising the fact that they really don't have a lot else going on with just a huge cliffhanger. And for all we know, that cliffhanger where we find out, what the Cigarette Smoking Man did, a vision, an LSD trip. I don't know. We can't trust him anymore.
Yeah, I know. Or as we find out, he impregnates her with alien.
I think that's what.
I think that's what it is. I do. I believe that baby is a cross, alien human baby hybrid. And I feel like there was something that led us to believe that last season, which my brain has somehow overwritten.
Well, that's how the X-Files works. There's a lot of plausible deniability. They bring up a lot of ideas and then they backtrack it, or they tell you it was actually something else all along. And it gets to the point where you think 2 things. One, they do not have a plan. Which, okay, I guess they don't technically have to. But if you don't have a plan, stop acting like you do. And there was an opportunity here to do an entire episode of exposition, which is they've done before. I remember the first Cigarette Smoking Man origin episode, which is one of the best episodes of the X-Files. They give us a ton of stuff. It wasn't particularly useful, like it didn't change anything, but they revealed a lot and it was exciting. Here, everyone is talking and speechifying and monologuing, and almost nothing is said. Almost nothing.
I think the thing, one of the things I will say, Skinner still continues to be one of my favorite characters. So when he starts saying, drop it, Mulder, drop it, Mulder obviously knows you've been around Cigarette Smoking Man. Why are you, Ultimately, that's what it is I can't get behind these characters' motivations.
I'm wondering the whole Skinner thing,
Yeah.
it might be the sort of deal where Skinner can't talk in a room full of people.
And that's fair, that's totally fair.
I had to make a deal, we'll talk about it when I can guarantee private. We'll go to the cone of silence in the Get Smart room at the FBI, and we can talk about it there. But right now, yeah. They're all kind of in a bind. And I can appreciate that. If that was the only issue with the episode, it would be a great episode.
Yeah, I know. I'm sometimes I go from critic to fan of where I'm like, it could be better, but also as a critic, it could be better.
Well, again, there's different kinds of fans. There's a fan where I'll love anything it does, and everything it does is gospel, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But you mature, maybe your tastes mature a little bit, and you start realizing that you can love something and not love everything it does.
Exactly.
And you can be critical of it, and it doesn't mean that the show is terrible or that it was always terrible. It means that it's 217 episodes or something they're up to right now, and they've made some mistakes. How could they not have?
Exactly, and I think ultimately where it stands is I love X-Files and I want to love X-Files, so I'm going to keep watching it to get a better sense of where it's going to go. So hopefully this little episode will just kind of go to the annals of history.
I was almost surprised to see caffeine-free Mulder and Scully even show up in this one. They just sort of pop in real fast. I was like, I thought for a second, I was like, oh, surely they were part of this weird vision she had while her brain was on fire. What do you think we're gonna do with that? Are they just a recurring gag? Are they just the new lone gunman? Or what do we?
I don't know, and I kind of wish we had forgotten about them because they didn't. They weren't so impactful last season, and I feel that they take away from the central, like, you know, yes, when we had Monica and Spender before, when Mulder left, I mean, that was great, I see that, but having these dual agents that almost mirror the younger selves of Scully and Mulder, I don't see what value it adds.
I thought it was supposed to be like a joke. And it wasn't a particularly funny joke because they really didn't do any commentary with it. Like, you remember in like an episode, I think it was like Humbug, where they were talking about how, well, I judge from you, you judge me based on my appearance, and I judge you based on, you know, you're wearing a suit and your stupid hair and everything. You're probably an FBI agent. I am an FBI agent. There was a self-awareness to it that just really didn't come across. And it was such an obvious on-the-nose reference. You're keeping these joke characters around. What you gonna do with them? Where are we going with this?
Well, hopefully we will find out. We've got the beginning of the journey to go, and we'll be here with you. Have a good one, guys. Enjoy. The truth is out there.
I hope.